news capital of the world. You've landed on the Daily Objective from the Ayn Rand Center UK. I'm delighted you're with us. Jonathan Hoenig from capitalistpig.com. And we're with you every day, Monday through Friday, 5 days a week, with original programming inspired by Ayn Rand's philosophy of objectivism. We are students of objectivism, all different various levels of interest, objectivism, and expertise and knowledge of Miss Rand's work. I really got into Ayn Rand's objectivism actually around the same time that our topic for today really came out back in the late 1990s, early 2000s. That's a little bit of what we're going to be talking about today, but I'm still learning. So we're delighted you're with us, as I said, every day, learning about objectivism with some of the biggest names and minds in objectivism, people like, and you know the names, James Valiant, Harry Binswanger, many, many others, helping us learn and understand more about Miss Rand's work and how to apply it to our lives and how to appreciate our lives even more. I mean, that's the whole point. Objectivism is a philosophy for living on earth, enjoying your life, getting the most out of it. So it's what we try to do a little bit every day and applying it as part of the fun, at least. And so today, despite the fact that there's, sex scandals and prostitution and I guess even not prostitution, but just porn star payoffs and very, sexy things, we're going to get into something I think even more sexy and exciting and interesting. It's something from the aesthetic world a bit today. It's objectivism is not just about, as they say, making money, capitalism, if you will. There's so much to it. So we're going to talk about the world of aesthetics a bit today. And of course, this is not objectivism. This is not part of objectivism. It's my own interpretation, our own interpretation, but we're excited to bring it with you. And we need your support to bring it with you. We have original programming every day. So show us the love on the super chat and tell us that you value this as part of your daily media diet. Now, in the old days, you might remember this old jobby. This was called television. It kind of dominated the media landscape from about the mid-1950s, really to around the time our ad today came out. I'm going to be talking to you today about my favorite television advertisement of all time. It came out in 1999. That's basically when the dominance of television really started to decline, in my estimation. But up until that time, you saw, if you were old enough, or certainly I remember seeing so many ads on TV, and many of them were just god-awful terrible. Like, remember this guy, Ron Popeil? He was it slices, it dices kind of a guy, always with those really stupid, silly TV ads, 800 numbers. There was all these, really kind of benign-looking, nebulous lawyers, promising big settlements and payouts. And even for a while back in the late 1990s, I remember Miss Cleo. She was a famous TV psychic who ran endless advertisements on television, promising to tell your future. So this was certainly a media, a vast wasteland, if you will, in terms of television advertising, certainly in the late 1990s. But it was around that time that my favorite ad came out. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. And, I have to say, I really don't watch much TV. Maybe there's been better ads since. There's probably been, because around that same time, the late 1990s, early 2000s, you might remember TiVo came out. I guess they call them DVRs, the digital video recorders. So you started being able to kind of zip through the ads, saw them less and less. Ultimately, Netflix and other streaming services came out. So if you're like me, I don't watch a lot of television ads anymore, but a few really stick in my mind. And this is one of them. The ad came out in 1999. It was called Milky Way. Company was Volkswagen. The client was Volkswagen. People know it more frequently as the Pink Moon advertisement. And the song is really kind of what got famous from it. The song by a guy named Nick Drake, who actually is from the UK now, as I remember. So Nick Drake's songs kind of gained huge popularity at the time. But what inspired me about it, and what I hope inspires you about it, as we take a look at it today, is not even so much the music, but the benevolent universe behind this ad that I think still, and I hope for you, still resonates today. So let's take a look at it and bring you back to 1999 with Pink Moon. And let me know if you can't hear it.
saw it written and I saw it say, the Bingo Moon is on its way. None of you stand so tall. The Bingo Moon gonna get you. Oh, it's a Bingo Moon. Yes, Bingo Moon.
It's such a great ad. It still kind of gets me choked up, and we're going to get into it. And I want to thank Wes so much for Wes Stewart. Dude, I love that ad. It's one of the first things I ever Googled. I regularly go back to it just because it's so good. And obviously, I agree with you. We thank you so much for that really generous contribution to the Ayn Rand Center UK, Wes. And so glad you agree with me. Let's talk about why it's so powerful and what makes it just so great. What makes it just so great. So where does it start? The ad starts on this middle of this dark, beautiful, clear night. We hear this cars gliding through the night, effortlessly gliding through the night. And it's beautiful. The car is with nature. You know, it's cutting through, it's slicing through the night. It's part of the road. It's machined, it's thoughtful, but it's working in harmony. You know, this car isn't blowing the nature apart to just, say, it's part of it. It's thoughtful. There's something very elegant about what we're coming across. We come across this scene of the car just cutting through. So there's something going on there. Even when we first see this car in the middle of the night, as I said, this machined, thoughtful, effortless, beautiful craft that's just slicing through the night. We start to see this cast of characters, these four young people in this car. And yeah, they're all good looking, of course. They're gorgeous, the men and the women, but they're also responsible. They're not like drunken, rebel without a cause, mindless, woke. Wes says, Apollo says this is before woke, right? These aren't like social kids on a mission at all. And we see this in the ad. There's something else going on here. These are responsible kids, but they're not responsible in the sense that they're all, protesting about a gas pipeline. They're interested in themselves, actually. They're interested in their futures and their relationships and in their lives. Let's take a look. Did you see that? I mean, it's one of the great moments in the ad. Watch it really closely. Watch it again. So we see this beautiful young woman. She's gazing out at the night. She's looking out at the stars and the pink moon. Camera's focused on her. And then we see the rack focus of the young man who's looking at her, looking out at the world. So there's a moment there, the focus changes, and that you see there's something going on here. There's values at stake. Very quiet, very beautiful, that rack focus. We started on her. We see her. She's looking out. She's not paying so much attention to him. Then we see his longful gaze. There's something just, and they're beautiful, obviously, young people, but we're seeing their thoughts and their aspirations and their dreams and his. So there's something important here. This isn't just a drive in the night. Apollo asks, were ads more benevolent before 2007? Boy, I don't remember. I can't make that claim, but this one sure was, wasn't it? There's something important here in this ride throughout the night. Important values here. So what's going on? Well, the pink moon it's illuminating the night. It's lighting up the night. And this beautiful, sleek car is almost like its own pink moon. Look, there's that bright moon, but the car it's not disharmonious with nature. It's part of nature. And the kids are part of the car. They're piloting the car. So it's all this harmonious feedback loop. Paulo says this is before iPhone and the explosion of social media, right? They're not all checking their phones. It's exactly right, Apollo. They're part of the experience. It's a beautiful, sleek car and enjoying what the car offers and what their relationships offer. It's piloted by people with values, and part of their values are the car, part of their values is the pink moon and the nature that they're experiencing, and part of the values is the relationships. This isn't just a ride, though. This is something important. I think it's part of what makes the ad so beautiful. Let's take another look at a clip.
Is on its way.
I love that middle moment there. One of the young women is reaching up for the fireflies, I suppose, the stars, the fireflies. She's reaching. Now, she knows she's not going to grab them, but she's just reaching up, just almost to play. There's a moment of just joyful play there. And then the driver, her kind of partner, if you will, looks over, and just a moment between the two of them.
Is on its way.
So what are we seeing is optimistic youth, and she's just reaching up for the stars, the moon, and she knows she's not going to grab anything, but just a sense of play, a sense of wonder, her partner, a connection to a peer over a shared value. Just kind of there's a joyousness about that. It actually made me remember a story that Dr. Peikoff told years ago on his podcast about his daughter his daughter Kira Peikoff, hanging from a swing and saying, "Daddy, look at me," as I remember Dr. Peikoff saying, because she could. Just a youthful joyousness. And I don't mean to equate these kids with being dogs, but there's that sense of just living our best life. For a moment, just as the dog is the best the dog can is like stick his head out the window and just love that moment of connecting with nature. And that's what reminded me of these kids for a moment there. They're just experiencing that environment, living their best lives for that moment. Let's take another look.
You stand so tall. Being a moon and
I like it's a quiet moment of the ad, but in kind of not the big climax, but we see this occupant, this young lady, for a moment. She's staring off. She's focusing on her selfish dreams. She's not pining over at the guy saying, "Ooh, I hope he likes me." She's focused on herself, her selfish dreams. What is tonight going to hold for me? What is my future going to hold for me? The sky's the limit for her. She's thinking about the stars. She's thinking about her future. And so is he. He's not oogling over her. He's thinking. These are moments of contemplative thought for these people, these young people. And there's something really beautiful about that. They're thinking. They're not just blasting music, banging their heads. They're thinking. There's contemplation going on here. Here's what an amazing, just like 10 seconds on film there for a moment. I'll just quickly look at it. Paulo says, "I don't want to sound like an old fart, but times were better then." Look at this party. Great moment, isn't it? Because we've all been there before. And there's a moment of growing up right there. Where we pull into this immature party, drinking, probably those plastic Solo cups all around there. Nick says it's beautiful. It is. They pull into this just beautiful party. And how do you know it's immature? I love this. How do you, just like some dope. Where is that guy now? Let's do a behind the music on him. Where is he now? He probably is, in his 50s with 3 kids. But they pull into this immature party and they've been having this magical night, and there's that sense of like, well, what are we going to do? Like, looking around, they're all kind of looking at each other. It's like, and for that moment there, it's like, who are we? Are we just these drunken kids? Are we just going to pull into this party and, just kind of zone out? Or is there something serious here? Do we have some serious values to pursue? And they all kind of look around and we just see each of them, and there's nothing spoken. It's not like, guys, we really need to break this down, and what cross-sectional groups are most affected now. They're talking about their own values. They're selfish. They're out tonight. It's like, this is their night out. What do they want to pursue? And you see this young lady, from her glance to this guy's glance, and it's totally unspoken. It's no discussion about groups affected or the Native American land on which this is taking place. It's just, and then when we see that back up, we see that they're backing up. It's just, you just cheer, you just cheer for a moment there, because, it's selfish. It's and it's so beautiful. And it remains, I get teared up even when I just see that. All you have to see is that white backup light. And then it's like tears at a wedding. Miss Rand talks about tears at a wedding because there's a sense of, why can't every moment be like that? Why can't every moment be heroic like that, be selfish like that, be beautiful like that? And I really wish it could be, because it's just such a great moment. It's just the climax of that, the ad and the moment. It's just such a beautiful way. Here's that after moment, if you will.
Pink, 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 pink.
Nick says they're protecting something precious and authentic, and I totally agree. I mean, they want the night. They don't want to just go get trashed at a party. It's like they want to go back to the car and the moon and their future. Nick, you're right. They want something that night, and they want each other. I mean, there is sex afoot. There's love afoot. And as someone who had his first kiss, after a night of driving around in my mom's convertible, definitely touches me. There's something really important afoot in this night for these young people. And it's so beautiful, isn't it? You really wish that every night could be like this, rolling around with your friends when everything else, and this idea of drivers wanted. Now, Miss Rand, to my knowledge, never wrote advertising, but what a great aspirational idea. We're not passive passengers. Even the passengers in that ad are not passive passengers. They're each drivers. A little spelling error there, I apologize, but they're each drivers. They're right at the beginning of their lives. They're making these romantic, long-range, passionate choices about their values. Drivers want it. It's just so it's so inspiring and so beautiful. And it reminded me of this line from Miss Rand, this idea of a benevolent universe that is held by youth. This is the line that makes me think of it. She says, there's a fundamental conviction which some people never acquire, some hold only in their youth, and a few hold to the end of their days. The conviction that ideas matter. That ideas matter means that knowledge matters, that truth matters, that one's mind matters. Consequence is the inability to believe. The consequence is the inability to believe in the power and the triumph of evil. So that's that benevolent universe that I just think is represented in that moment when they're driving off into the night in this beautiful car, in this beautiful evening. It's like they don't believe in evil for a moment there. And it's just such a great ad and such a great moment. And it worked. Sales of that ad, of that album record, Pink Moon, rose from 6,000 in 1999. It sold 74,000 album or copies in 2000. The Cabrio took off, and the ad is considered one of the all-time greats, even now, some 24 years later. Fun fact, as we close it out, the ad was filmed in Bodega Bay, California, which I was just happened to be visiting a few weeks ago. And I don't know if I went through the exact area where Pink Moon was filmed, but I can attest it is a beautiful, amazing part of this great country that really inspires you to find that pink move and reach for the stars yourself. So thank you for making us part of your evening. Wes says, it was years later that I realized the girl at the end was looking back at the guy who was looking at her earlier in the ad. Amazing how much it accomplished in 1 minute. It's exactly right. The girl at the end is looking back at the guy who, exactly right, who was kind of longing for her. And now they're driving out into the night. Now something is going to happen. It's just, as he says, it's amazing how much is accomplished in just 1 minute, and how beautiful it is, and how aspirational it is, and how it's not about, as Apollo said earlier, iPhones and selfies, and just, it's really important. And all that happens is a bunch of kids driving in the middle of the night. And this is me certainly reading into it, but their future, their dreams, reaching for the stars, the universe is benevolent, and just how beautiful it is. So thank you for sharing it with me. Thank you for sharing your time with us, with the Ayn Rand Center UK. That's what we're about here. And take this opportunity to learn a bit about Miss Rand's concept of the benevolent universe premise as against the malevolent universe premise. It's such a powerful, small piece of objectivism that we get into here on the channel. Miss Rand certainly illuminates in so many of her works, and I just think that's exemplified in this wonderful ad going back from 1999, 20 some years ago. Thanks, Ashley. Ashley says, love this. I love you for loving it, and I love you for supporting us, and thank you for being part of our philosophy posity. We're here Monday through Friday. So happy you make us part of your media diet, and that you're like us, exploring Ayn Rand's philosophy of objectivism, making it part of your life, and your life is better as a result. So we will see you back here, same bat time as they say, 6 p.m. UK, that's 12 p.m. Central, 1 p.m. Eastern for the Daily Objective. Share it, like it, make us part of your media diet, and make us part of your day. We wish you best premise. And Gary says, thanks for transporting me to a wonderful place. Well, thank you for being part of what we do. Become a member. If you want to keep the programming going, we need your support. So we need the super chat, so we need the membership, and trade us value for value. Wishing you best premises. Be well.